Good afternoon. Today it looks like I've got a Gibson 1910 parlor guitar. Uh, so far, what I've done with this guitar is that these aren't the actual tuners that go with this. These are the actual tuners that go with it, and I've cleaned them up and prepared them, and this is what they look like. So I've kind of repaired this one, and this one wasn't working, and then I cleaned them up, and then I put wax on there so they kind of move a little better. You don't want to use oil on these, it's not a good idea. The bridge piece, which goes into the back of the guitar here, is the original. Before it had a nitrocellulose bridge on it, which looked like this. So I'm fabricating a new bridge, and it's gonna fit onto like that, and it's gonna be an actual tortoiseshell nitrocellulose bridge. So that's about that. So anyway, first look at the guitar. What we see here is this beautiful, you know, typical what you get from old guitars, vintage this style. The nitrocellulose, according to the temperature changes, make it crackle like this over time, and there really isn't anything you can do to prevent this. With old guitars and vintage guitars like this, you don't want to add any coating or sanding. All you really want to do to it to preserve it and its character and its longevity is just clean it. So what you do is you just take this simple stuff right here. It's good old guitar polish, and you'll see it's amazing. You just put a little dab on your finger like so. I'm going to do a test sample here. Do a test sample. You take a little teeny bit like this, because you don't want to use water. Sometimes you end up with ghosting by doing that. So you just take a little bit, test it, see how much dirt's already coming up. And now it's starting to come back a little bit. You see? Just a little bit of cleaning. If you feel any resistance, that means there's still a little bit of dirt. See all that dirt? Once I get this thing cleaned, it'll look like a fresh guitar again. But you just add a little bit of this cleaner and polish, take off all that grime over the years, and what ends up is it starts to look like that. It starts to polish up and look really nice. So, but it takes a little bit of effort. So we're gonna have to take this off. This bridge is not the original bridge, obviously. You take this pin out, set it over here. There's this, back up a little bit. So there's this pin here that goes in here. That looks like the original pin, strap pin, goes in there. It's a little bit loose. I might be able to fix that. There's a way to do that. That's a no-no. Geez, I would like kill myself if I saw that. Oh. So anyway, let's hopefully that this will go back on and do its original job. So what we'll have to do here first is I'm going to detune it. Looks like we got some checking in the fretboard here. That's real minor. I might just do a minor repair in there, clean it up, really clean it up, oil it. Looks like there's some light pitting that's typical for these guitars. Yeah, look at that. There's little dimples in there, enough to just kind of work. I think that's good. Sometimes you don't want to take too much of these out or refret these, because the character in some of these old guitars is that unwanted buzz sound for some of them. So we'll just take the strings off here. I don't know if that's the original nut on this or not. I have to take a look. I didn't know. I've got some bone nut that I might be able to put in there that we'll have to see. But this guitar is in really good shape. I don't see any cracks or any dings in it that are unwarranted that would have an issue with playability. It's got a great tone for a guitar this age. I want to keep that character. So we'll just clean that up and see where we go with that. So I'm going to take these strings off very carefully. Almost sounds like something from the early days. That tone. Yeah, I'm gonna replace these tuners also. I think I'm going back to original tuners. I think these will work after fixing these up. These were heavily damaged, but here, these are nitrocellulose. This is the one that is cracked and chipped, and right now I kind of cleaned it up and made it look decent. It spins okay, but we don't know what's going to happen until I put strings on it and it's under tension and how the gears receive the weight, if this is going to snap back off. If it does, we could keep the original tuners, break these off, which is common. You just break these off and then just go and, put new ones on, basically. For this style, you want slotted heads, because these are slotted, not rounded heads on what holds these pins in, or these heads in. These are the original. This is the only one. Ouch! I just poked myself. Yeah. So this is the only one that's not original. It was a lot bigger and it was faced out further. So I kind of heated up the post and lightly pushed it back in further, and it seated really well, and then I shaped it to match the other pins. Now, if these can handle the load, we'll just continue with that. Wow. So, back over here, taking the strings off. I have my trusty friend and wife over here helping me film this. Where's my... I'm going to take this bridge off. Dang, that hurt. I literally poked myself with that. Alright, here we go. Taking this off from the back. This does not belong on this guitar. Oh, yes, how beautiful this is. Wow, that is like, this thing weighs like a pound, man. This is like heavy. Wasn't really doing much. And this is the original. You can even see in the back here where the 3 holes were originally sat. So now we're gonna reconstruct this baby to go right back where it was, and then have that bridge in there. I'm gonna form, and then over here. This also looks like it was either, that may be the original bridge. These are original brass. So we'll take and put all this stuff aside, take her apart. Now, looking at the bridge here at this angle, you can see how it's mothered with the shape of the guitar. I've seen some of them where this profile at this edge right here, I don't want it sideways. Yeah. So right here at this profile, it's seated real well. So this doesn't need any changing. This is seated. Wow. Okay. That didn't take me much for that to fall off of there. That tells me, yeah,
It wasn't seated very well.
it wasn't seated very well because there's lacquer underneath. So that's no problem. We'll take care of that. I'm just going to have to remove some of the lacquer in that area and reglue this. In fact, if we look at the bridge here, it has been removed and possibly replaced because look at it, it's only glued in 2 spaces. It's not even seated properly. Just as I was saying, it's typical for these to end up where the profile at the edge does not match the belly of the guitar. So what we'll do is how you solve that problem is you grab yourself some sandpaper. And you match it to the profile of the guitar, and then you swing back and forth till it fits. But we're not going to do that right now. We're just going to sit here and take all these pieces apart. Be really careful with this, because in the day, nitrocellulose, this is really good at it. It's still intact. We may be able to clean it up and make it look good. Has a patent date of March 30th, 1909 right here. Let's take a good look at this here and I'll show you. It says patented March 30th, 1909. Butamus. That's cool. So, you got a point, insertion point at this point. You have an insertion point into the bridge or the fret here, and then I'm taking these screws out. Knowing that, being careful not to crack this thing. So what we'll do is we'll just take and we'll loosen up this baby, and it should just pop right out of there. So let's take and loosen this up. Now, sometimes on these bridges, they have leather feet on the back of them. This one doesn't have it, so I'm going to have to make one for that. But I'm going to carefully remove the back of this and remove the back of this. Should be able to stretch out on me. Okay, then I'll flip it over, and then carefully slide it out of the pocket here. Sometimes you don't want to force it. They usually come in at an angle. There we go. Now we got the whole mechanism there. That's surprisingly still intact. We don't want to mess with that. Looks like there's a bracing in here. So this is really good. Look at that. Number 10047. I think, if I remember right, that's the exact same serial number that's inside the guitar here that says, let's see if we can get that.
Yep, 10047.
10047. I don't know if you guys can see that or not.
I don't know what it says. Gibson.
This guitar. So we're going to remove these as well and see about putting the right ones on later. I'm taking all the hardware and everything off so that I could further check out the guitar. I'm going to put these over here in a little dish. That way I don't lose them. I don't want to jimmy it off too fast because sometimes the lacquer or the nitrocellulose finish will stick to the back, and then when you lift, sometimes it'll stick and then chip off, so you got to be careful of that. And also you got to be careful of pulling these out. They seem to fit very good. Nice good tight fit. All right. Yeah, these are not the right ones. KB, huh? That's Clausen style. Yeah, these are Clausen style. 3-plate tuners, but they're modern with this on here somehow. I don't know what the heck they really are. But anyway, 3-plate tuners, and then put those over there. See, these are the original tuners. They go in here and they fit in like golden. Those were, oh my god, I hope these aren't too loose in here. No, once these tighten in, see, those must have been in here for quite some time, because they have what they call mouse ear. They call mouse ear style, I guess. But this is double end mouse ear, which is like it's World War I issue stuff, you know. But these are sought after. I can't even find any of these. The only ones that you can find that are originals, I haven't been able to find. Now, StewMac has a set of these, but they're replicas, and they do have the double-ended mouse ears. And I do have some on order to see, just in case I need to replace these, which isn't gonna hurt. I mean, the only difference in the ones that I'm getting as opposed to these is these have the original checkered pattern that stripes on both sides on this guitar plate. And if I fixed them right, they don't wobble as much or grip. So I'm hoping that I can keep these original tuners, because these are the original tuners, and you know, the best way to do it is to go original and make it worth its while. So we're gonna take this apart. Now all we need to do is clean her up.